Hey y'all. I still can't quite get that down. It's not my blood, at least not yet. So, it's Brad and Teresa here. And, I did a couple videos last Sunday about some of my experiences in the grocery business. I did 34 years in grocery sales, and the last 14 years, wow. The last 14 years, I ran the liquor store, which is a full, it's a full liquor store, both wine, spirits, and beer, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. But this week, I wanted to answer some of the questions, and I wanted to tell you guys a short story of one of my experiences before I met Teresa. And first question is Deb USA. Hi, Deb. She asked if the deals were different for a trade versus no trade. What I saw in my Go Chargers, they won. My experiences is once in a while, people would want, let's say they had a vehicle, they wanted $15,000. They thought that's what it was worth. And maybe it booked out for $12,000. Sometimes what they would do is, rather than discount the vehicle by $3,000, if they had the room, they would increase what they were offering on the trade by $3,000 to get the customers to buy. And then a lot of times we'd have the customers zeroed in on a particular vehicle. They were getting what they wanted for their trade, but then they switched to another vehicle, and it was really tough sometimes explaining to them why we couldn't give them the same amount for their trade on the other vehicle. So there is a little bit of there can be differences. Just depends on how the dealership operates. Terry Abrams. Hi, Terry. You were telling me about the diesel with that somebody had put gas in it rather than diesel. That does happen on occasion. We had one of our detail guys accidentally put gas in a diesel motor. Fortunately, they caught it in time before any damage was done. They were able to clean it out. And stuff like that, I don't know if that has to be by law, if that has to be disclosed to the potential seller. But there are laws in place.
You mean the potential buyer?
Or the potential buyer, sorry. And there are laws in place that, and I don't know about nationwide, I'm assuming it is, but there are laws in place that if something is wrong and the customer asks about that, you gotta be straightforward. I saw a lot of things, mainly with other dealerships, where there was one truck I sold a gentleman, or this gentleman wanted to trade into me, and the dealership failed to tell him that this truck had been in 3 wrecks. And he paid, it was like $18,000 or $19,000 for this truck, and he should have paid not more than $10,000 because of the severity of the wrecks and everything. And so he got, and that was at another dealership than the one I worked for. So he got screwed. But there are lemonade laws on the books, and the lemonade laws were real weak back in Wyoming. I know some states have really strong lemonade laws, but I'm not aware of anything that goes longer than 30 days. So, that goes back to the thing about trusting the dealership that you're purchasing from. So, next is Pops Gma. I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah.
The next is Pops Gma, and She asked if it's true that you lose money when driving off the lot. Yes, you do. Because especially, well, on both, on new and pre-owned. But on pre-owned, you're paying retail, and the dealership is going to want to pay trade. So dealerships have to make a reasonable profit. Some dealerships, it really disgusts me, because some dealerships, they want to just rape people. And I believe in making a reasonable profit, but when you're screwing people over. But yeah, as soon as you drive a vehicle off the lot, you're going to lose money. And there's no way around it. That's just the nature of sales. You know, the closest thing I can think of is if you can buy a pre-owned. And I hear you, but you got to let me finish with these people, okay?
So rude.
I know, you're so rude, okay? And you know, once in a while you can strike a phenomenal deal where you can purchase a pre-owned vehicle for under book, and you know, there you're not going to be taking as much of a loss. But yeah, when you purchase a vehicle, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you are going to take a loss. And then there are some states that even though you've signed paperwork, until you actually drive that vehicle off the lot, you have not legally taken possession of it. Oops, we're trying to get around dogs. So you can't, you know, even though you signed all the paperwork, a lot of people don't realize this, and you'd have to check with your state to see what that is on when it's legal, or when you legally have taken possession on it. Best time to buy new vehicles. Usually a few months after the next model year comes out, if you're looking at new. Like right now, I would imagine most of the 2017s are out, and usually the closer it gets to a year after the old models, like the 16s. You know, the 16s have been on the lot. They want to get them out of there, so they offer bigger incentives on the 16s, so they can start filling up the lots with 17s. So, you know, watch for the year-end clearance sales. Okay, hang on. Sorry, we got a dachshund that's really, really impatient, and she's growling at the mastiff.
Be nice, Mama.
Yeah. Come here, Charlie.
Get up there.
Come here. Okay, Charlie. So, you know, if you can catch that to the year's end, when they're offering those bigger incentives. I noticed there's one manufacturer that's on certain vehicles, they're offering 16% off the MSRP, which is a phenomenal deal. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll give you the percentage off in lieu of rebates. A lot of times what they'll do is, I think the biggest rebates I ever saw on vehicles was like $9,500 on pickups, and that was on the GMC trucks, and that was the 13 models, because the 14 body style was brand new, so they're just trying to get the 13s out of there before they release the 14s. On pre-owned, and actually this will also go in part for new vehicles, is a lot of dealerships, they have sales goals that they have to hit every month. And a lot of times, if you're there and if you're a serious buyer on the last day of the month, they'll offer you killer deals. Not always, but it does happen, especially if they're really close to hitting their quota. So that's another thing is, maybe wait till the end of the month. So that's just some of the things I saw. And another thing, I think it's Pops G-Moss made a comment about men versus women buyers. One of the things with all the online trading courses I had to take is that when there is a couple involved, 80% of the time, the decision will be made by the female. And, you know, it's funny, you'll see these guys come in and, yeah, I rule the roost. And, you know, we know that's a crock, you know. But, yeah, in 80% of the time, the women will have the final say-so. A lot of salespeople, they make the mistake of just kind of ignoring the little woman and just talking to the guy, you know. But she's the one you got to win over if you're a salesperson. And that is probably, as a salesperson, if you're trying to sell a vehicle, that is the worst mistake that you can make, is not showing equal attention to both him and her. You know, you've got to do that. I had one couple, super nice couple, and they were in looking for a pickup for him, and we found the right pickup. He loved it. We went in to start talking numbers and everything, and there was a Cadillac XTS sitting right behind me in the showroom. And every time I looked up, I kept noticing her looking at this Cadillac. And I said, well, you want to take it out for a drive? Oh, no, I couldn't do that. Besides, we're getting the truck for him. And yeah, I didn't push her, but, you know, she didn't want us to take it out of the showroom. It was sitting on the showroom floor. It was all polished up and just absolutely beautiful. Finally, she said, finally he pushed her into it. He said, yeah, why don't you go take it for a drive? So we got out of the showroom, and as soon as we got out on the highway, she just was absolutely in love with this truck. So we got back to the showroom, and I've never been the type. I've always had problems trying to push people. It's not my way. You know, I always view it as present the information the best you can, and you know, they've got to make a decision. I probably could have sold a lot more cars than I did if I would have been pushy, but that's just not in my nature. So they wanted to talk about it. They had to decide which one they wanted. Did they want the truck or did they want the Cadillac? So about 3 days later, I saw them pulling up, and I went out to greet them and asked them, well, what'd you guys decide on? Well, we couldn't decide, so we're going to take them both. So, you know, that was exciting, and that was fun. Sherilyn, this is another one, high pressure. You know, it sounded like they really pushed you into something you really didn't want. And the percentage, God, if I remember right, the percentage is like 73 or 78% of the people buy something other than what they came in for. You know, so a lot of us, a successful car salesman, when they do the initial fact-finding interview, you know, they'll kind of see what you're looking for. I mean, you may say, yes, I'm looking for this Yukon, you know, it's got to be this, got to be that. But as a salesperson, when you're talking to them, you find out that, okay, maybe this is what they want because, you know, their friend has one, but maybe this isn't the exact one that's going to fit their lifestyle. And as a salesperson, what you need to do is you need to kind of direct them to something else. You know, what you told, what I read on there, it sounded like they were just pushing you because they wanted to get rid of that car, you know, and that's where you got to learn as a salesperson, you know, when is enough, and, you know, don't push too hard. And Nancy Rossner, I hope I pronounced that right. She said that I had a great voice. When I was at the grocery store, they had the message repeaters where you'd go in, you would record, nope, come here, Charlie. You'd record a message, and then we could set it up where I usually did like a dozen messages, and you know, they'd play like every 6 to 10 minutes, and it was just an automatic repeater. So yes, thank you. I've heard that before. Okay. Any more questions? Definitely feel free to ask, and I will do my best to answer them. Did you get them all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
wait, did you do your story?
I was just about to start. This is something that happened to me before I met Teresa. I was probably 21, 22 years old. There was a friend and I that, and it was funny because he and I just talked about it last night. There was a friend and I that we're going to take several days and go fishing. The lake we were going to was about 100 miles away. And I was supposed to pick him up about 5 in the morning. And then we were going to head from there. Well, I had my truck. I had a truck with a camper shell. And I had it completely packed the night before. So all I had to do was get up and get dressed and go. And this is back in the days before I was corrupted and Teresa taught me the art of drinking coffee. So yeah, I got up, got in my truck and took off and went over to pick up this friend of mine. And he lived probably about 20 minutes away. And I was driving through downtown, and there's not a whole lot of traffic at 5:30 in the morning. And I noticed there's 2 police cars following me. And so I'm not speeding or anything like that. And I turn the corner to go the route. Well, both of them hit their lights. So I pull over. I don't think I'm completely stopped, and I see 4 more police cars coming from the front. And they're out there in a half circle around me. And their doors come flying open, and the pistols are right there. And I made a comment about out the window, because this was probably, I'm guessing it was probably in August, and I made a comment out the window about all this for a speeding ticket, and this is probably
the wrong thing to say.
81, 82, and they told me to get out of the car, and they told me to put my hands up. I did. I got out of my truck, and they told me to put my hands up, and they told me to walk toward the headlights. And there's 6 sets of headlights pointing at me, and I asked which one, and they told me to quit being a smartass. So I walked back toward the headlights, and most of you guys probably don't know, but I'm 6 foot tall and about 280 pounds. I am not a little guy. And this guy that comes up is probably
You were heavier back then.
and I was heavier then than I am now. And this guy that comes to, he comes running up and he grabs my arm and he goes to throw me against the police car. And this guy's probably 5'7", 5'8", maybe 140 pounds. And he does this a couple times and he says, "Up against the car, please." And so he frisks me and everything. And they're asking me all these questions. Where am I headed to? Where have I been? What I'm doing out at this time in the morning? And I look over and they're just pulling everything out of my truck. And I keep asking, well, what did I do? And finally, after, it seems like forever, but after several minutes, they said, "We picked you up under suspicion of armed robbery." And all I can think of is, oh, crap, because the area we're going fishing has a lot of rattlesnakes. And so I have a shotgun under the seat. I have a 22 pistol, or I have a shotgun behind the seat. I have a 22 pistol under the seat. I have my 22 rifle in the back. I've got an axe. I've got a machete. I've got all sorts of knives. And I thought, yep, I'm toast. And finally, after several minutes, they profusely apologized. They were really nice about it. And they said that there was a convenience store held up about 3 or 4 blocks from where I lived. And the gentleman that held it up had exactly the same truck as I did. And I had a 79 Chevy Love with a camper shell. And it had the blue graphics. It was baby blue, whatever you want to call it. And it had the graphics on it. And there was only like 2 or 3 in town. So I was fine. They were nice. They helped me load everything back in the truck, and they wished me luck. And I got over to my friend's house, and I actually drank a cup of coffee, and then it hit me, and I just started shaking so bad. And that whole trip is one I probably just should have stayed in bed, because when we were driving up to the lake, I had a seagull do a face plant in my windshield.
Oh, is that the same trip?
That was the same trip.
Holy moly.
Yeah, this seagull did a face plant in my windshield, and I thought,
nasty.
Yeah, it was gross. I thought, oh, I'll just use the windshield wipers, and all it did was smear blood and guts all over the windshield. And then this friend of mine, I had 3 fishing poles. I had a fish steal one. This friend of mine lost one, and then the third one, he ended up slamming in the tailgate and broke the 3rd pole. And then I had caught a perch that was the biggest perch I'd ever seen, and we were debating on whether to turn it in, to take it to the Game and Fish, because we weren't sure if it would be the new state record. And I decided not to, and he gutted it, and then I hadn't realized he gutted it, and I changed my mind. And we found out that would have been the new state record for perch. And then we had left a window open on my camper shell, and it rained. And the only thing that got absolutely soaked was my clothes and my sleeping bag. And then on the way home, as we were driving down the road, the clamps that were holding the camper shell on the bed of the pickup came loose, and my camper shell went flying away. So that is probably the worst trip, and the fishing sucked. So I think that perch was the only fish I caught. So, but I can look back on it and laugh. So, do you have any questions? Say hi, Teresa.
Me? I don't have any questions.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Look at this hair. Look at this hair now. This is what the dog did in my hair now.
Yeah.
Hi, honey.
Hi, baby. So.
I done doed him, guys. I done doed him a haircut. I done spicified him for the job fair tomorrow.
So how is it? I've got all this gray hair here and very little gray hair up here.
I don't know.
I haven't figured that one out.
You're getting more gray hair up there, though.
I know. So, but thanks for listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And say goodbye, Teresa.
Goodbye, Teresa.